the Infectious Disease Society of America is saying to all of you, they're lying. They're behind this. There is no cure for us. Antibiotics is not going to cure our B cells. Some people in the 15% outcome can get to remission, and that's wonderful. But those of us who cannot are stuck living this nightmare day in and day out, and it's not acceptable. Lyme disease is a crime. Lyme disease is a crime. Prosecute the CDC. Investigate Lyme disease. Investigate Lyme disease. Investigate the CDC.
How you guys doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a graduating medical student over at Emory.
Okay,
I saw you guys over here, so I just wanted to come and talk and kind of figure out
what's going on?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have chronic neurological Lyme disease, and because of medical research fraud that took place in 1994 in Dearborn, Michigan, by CDC patent owners, Barbara Johnson, board members, right here, these people right here, they came up with a vaccine called Lyme which was pulled from the FDA approved market in 2002 to be for those cells, but what actually happened is causing 50% of us get arthritic knee in a mild case. 85 of us get chronic neurological immune suppressive disease. Once they realized that, they went back to the case study in Dearborn, Michigan, and they took 85% of us out and said only this is Lyme disease. Only in the knee. Yes, it's Lyme disease. So none of us test. Then they altered the testing in Europe. And Dr. Alan Steer with Yale University in order to hide that vaccine failure. When they did that, none of us can test positive with their test. We test positive with private testing, DNA connections, IGenics, and all of that. The testing does not work for us. So we're left with nothing. And if are you gonna be a future doctor?
Yeah, in just a couple of weeks actually.
Oh, then you need to know this so that you can help your patient. When your patient walks in with a complete heart block, you need to know that these cardiac symptoms are a result of untreated tick-borne diseases. When your patient comes in and they have chronic pain, or you can't figure out what's going on with them, or chronic fatigue, they're not mentally ill. I'm a registered nurse. Yes. So I know. I mean, I've done my research, and I appreciate that you're interested in this information because we need to get this out to the public. Because for 25 years, our doctors have been lying to you guys. They've been lying to our young doctors who are coming out to believe that we are mentally ill and that we do not have an infection. And in actuality, we have basically we have B-cell AIDS. Lyme disease sheds an outer surface protein called OspA. Same thing they put in the vaccine. OspA shuts the immune system down, and we're not dying from Lyme disease. We're dying from reactivated herpesviruses like Epstein-Barr, cytomegalovirus, all of these opportunistic infections and viruses. They're taking over our body. That's what causes fibromyalgia. It damages our root nerves and everything. And chronic fatigue. It's not the Lyme per se, but the Lyme untreated is the catalyst that is leading us to where we are.
Yeah, because it was my understanding that once we give antibiotics and then
That's a lie.
Some get cured, it depends. Some get cured, some
my
don't.
mother-in-law got bit last summer. She tested positive, or not positive, but she on these tests, but on another test she had bands, that showed Lyme disease. She did 8 weeks of doxycycline antibiotics, and we don't know if she's cured, but she doesn't have any symptoms. Because we know we can't kill this stuff. Once it gets out of the blood and into the brain and into all the organs, it's like syphilis. You can't kill it. But there are people that do reach remission, that 15%, but 85% of us. I did 3 years of antibiotics. I had a PICC line put in. I administered myself. And I'm no better today than I was 3 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I still test positive through the testing, but not CDC positive. I have 4 bands, and CDC says I need 5. It's like being a little bit pregnant. How can you be a little bit pregnant? Dr. Alan Steer from Yale University said in 1986 that all you needed to test positive for Lyme disease was band 41 on a Western blot, which is the flagellum, the tail of the spirochete. Because the outer surface proteins, they change. They mutate, they're varigenic, they change. So You can't do it on antibodies because we don't make them, and you can't do it with the outer surface proteins.
Okay.
If your patient is symptomatic and they have that tail of the bacteria, and you can rule out syphilis, they have Lyme disease.
Interesting.
So be open-minded, and my best advice to you is to listen to your patients.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to put those textbooks down. You got to listen to your patient. You can learn a lot. Take the time, because no one's going to waste 50 grand coming to you once a week and saying something's wrong with me. For you to say, nobody in their right mind is going to throw their money away like that. We do. We all have. We go to doctor and specialists and oncologists and rheumatologists, and we tell them the same story. We've got chronic headaches, we've got joint pain and muscle weakness and all of these things, and they're like, well, Mirenda, you're a nurse. Maybe you work too much. Maybe you're fighting with your husband. Maybe you need an antidepressant. No.
You're getting old. That's right.
You're getting older. You work too hard, and that's not true.
Middle-aged, overweight white woman.
Yeah.
Coming in with any kind of pain.
Automatic.
It's anxiety.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Some information for you. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
If you look up this website, truthcares.com, her name is Kathleen Dixon. She worked at Pfizer. She was an analytical chemist. She blew the whistle on this Lyme crime, and she has all the proof and support that you need with research. So you don't have to believe a word I say.
Check it out.
You can research it on your own. It'll make you a good doctor. It will make you make people like us look for you to help us, because right now we have nothing.
Okay.
It is. I gave this to my son in utero. My son just left. He's 20 months old. He was born with 2 strains of babesia, which is like malaria. He was born with Lyme disease. He was born with Bartonella and ehrlichiosis, because that's what happened to me when I got bit in 2004. I walked into my emergency room. I had a textbook bullseye right here.
Yeah.
And that doctor looked at me and said, you had a spider bite, go home. 3 weeks later, back in the emergency room with stiff neck, flu-like symptom, delirious, high fever, infection of unknown origin. For 12 years, I went to every specialist and spent thousands of dollars for them to tell me there was nothing wrong with me. I went to a Lyme literate physician. She tested me correctly, and I was positive for all of that.
Wow.
So I've lived with these infections, and I'm no longer curable. And I will probably die before my son graduates high school, because the medical community failed me, and they failed all of these people here. And it's doctors like you who are going to make that change for us, who are going to listen to us. I'm a registered nurse. I'm educated. I'm not a doctor, but I have done my research because I was pushed into this from becoming ill.
Yeah.
Maybe if you would have told me that the CDC was involved in things when I was a nurse, I may have looked at you kind of funny, because we respect and we believe everything that we're taught. You can't always do that. You got to keep an open mind, and you have to listen to your patients.
Okay.
That's my best advice to you. And do your own research, because
I'll check this out.
it's there. I have a copy in my binder of research articles written by Alan Steer, by Dr. Gary Wormser. Before 1994, they said this was a chronic, immune-suppressive, horrific disease, and then all of a sudden, incurable permanent brain infection, and all of a sudden, 1994, Dearborn comes, vaccine failure, and these people are hypochondriacs. You're depressed. You're mentally ill. So we're here today to have our put back. We want to be put back in the case definition so that we can get research, we can be acknowledged, and we can hopefully come to some kind of cure for us or some help. Because our B cells are permanently damaged. We basically have B cell AIDS.
Well, thank you for talking to me. I'll look this kind of stuff up.
Thank you for coming.
I'm sorry for everything you've gone through.
Not all. It's all of us.
All of you.
And this is a small percentage. You know that
most of them are
they're too sick to get here. They're bedridden. They're
bedridden.
They're
They're
broke.
vomiting blind. They can't come.
And this is a.
It is awesome because stress and you know what they're like.
Infection, you open your mind, you'll have a lot of patients you can help, and you can change the outcome. Let your friends know.